Good morning, quilt roadies. I'm in my stitchy chair in the beehive. I finished quilting this little table topper, and it's a Christmas gift, so I feel quite smug. And now, while we are chatting, I'm going to tack the binding down. Because you always, when you are a crafter of any kind, you just don't sit without having something in your hands. And so today, for me, it is binding time. Yeah, I cut the binding out 2.5 inches wide on the no, actually I did it on, because of the amount of fabric I had left, I did it on the straight of green, which normally I don't do, but I did it this time to be a little more efficient. Yes. So how have you been? Have you been stitching a lot, or you know, I sometimes go through dry spells. I did get a question on one of the videos that asked me how I divided my time up between cross-stitching and quilting, and how did I organize that. And I had to laugh, because if there is a person who is the most disorganized, which is interesting because I was very organized in my working life. You would never catch me on overtime because of charting. I was a very efficient nurse. But in my crafting life, I have absolutely, well, I'm an efficient shopper. Yeah, I guess there is that. I'm an efficient shopper. But as far as a time schedule for my crafting life, I don't have any any schedule at all. Any schedule at all. It kind of is, yowie. Don't want to leave some DNA on that. It's kind of like what moves me is the most. It, you know, if I don't feel like it, I am not going to be able to do it. That's just all there is. I think on this particular, this, you know, it's kind of funny. Some fabric is so tightly woven. I'm jumping all over. Be prepared for Mr. Toad's wild ride. Some fabric is just woven so tightly that it can be hard to, and this has a little metallic to it, so that may be why the needle is, because this is a new needle, but like batiks are very tight. But so where was I? Oh, organization, and choosing how to, how much time to allot to all the different things I love. Yeah, this wouldn't be the channel for that. This is the channel that makes you feel good if you're an organizer, or makes you feel comfortable if you're not, because you're amongst friends. Eventually, I will be, the weather's kind of iffy this week, but eventually I would like to do some videos stitching outside in the backyard, because it's just so lovely. But that'll have to wait for a little more consistent, better weather. Yeah, so I was watching, you know, I always enjoy watching Kate in The Last Homely House. You know, there's just those times when you want someone who's just kind of relaxed. you know, just kind of relaxed. And she's one of those people, plus she likes to do English paper piecing, which is a love of mine, um, although I don't have a lot of it going on, but I do have that big Hexie, the big Hexie project that's year long. And my book group back in Deschutes County, I just sent them a video that my friend Sandy in Canada sent me, like a feel-good video, and it was just a bunch of babies and puppies and dogs. Oh my gosh, I am going to watch that more than once for sure, because if there's something that can bring a smile to your face, you know, I wish I knew how to post it here, but I don't know how to do that. Yeah. Let's see here. Well, I'm really excited about the Quilters Affair, even though it is virtual. I'm very much excited about it. I think I already told you what I was going to do, which was for the sit and sew, I was going to, before each sit and sew or time together, I was going to explain a different genre that, I got a little bit of a knot here, different genre that I love, because that's the type of quilter I am. I pretty much like it all. And I jump in like feet first. When I decide I want to learn something or do something, I just jump in feet first and get all the stuff you need to do it. And, you know, it's kind of like going, back in the day when you could go into See's Candy and they gave you a free candy. Do you remember that? It was like this gift, and then you had to choose which pieces you wanted in your box, and oh, you see, that was so hard. And that's kind of like, boy, I can't get that knot out. That's kind of like how I feel about quilting and stitching. I just love it all. I I'm intrigued by I'm intrigued by the variety of things that you can choose to do. I love wool stitching. I love hand applique. The English paper piecing, the regular piecing. I have to say, though, the one thing in the quilting world that is not my favorite, and it has something to do with the way my brain functions, is paper piecing. And paper piecing, it's kind of like you have to do it backwards to get it. And I know it creates these wonderful motifs, but I always waste a ton of fabric because I can't quite visualize how to flip it or which way it's going to go, and so I've never been drawn to paper piecing patterns. I kind of skip over those, but pretty much everything else is fair game for me. I just really love it, and it's so funny. I had to, when I was in Bend last month, I went into Norco because Jean needed some supplies, which Norco is a medical supply place. And when I was standing at the counter in the office, someone no one was in that particular office, but on the back wall of that office was hanging Jen Kingwell's Gypsy Wife. Oh, that quilt. Now, I know my friend Lori, I believe she is either in the midst of making that or she has made that, but boy, that's tempting. It was just so lovely, absolutely lovely. Yeah, I love Jen Kingwell's stuff. But I do love needle turn applique. I'm not very good at it, but that doesn't make any difference to me because I'm the only one seeing it. As long as I'm enjoying myself. Isn't that so? So, G and I this week, we took a walk up Scouters Mountain. And Scouters Mountain is that mountain that you can see right outside my sewing room window. And it looks like it's right there, but at the same time, you think it's way far away. And there's a trailhead over there. There's several trails. It used to be a Boy Scout camp, and up there at the top. And so I've wanted to hike some of the trails in there, but I've been afraid to walk from my house to there because I thought, oh, I'll be so tired. But there's a parking lot at the bottom of it, so I told G the other day, I said, let's go drive over to the parking lot and hike up Scouters Mountain. He looked at me and he said, really? I mean, the trailhead's like less than a quarter mile from our house. And I said, really? I said, okay, well, let's see how we do. Let's go walk over there, and I'll just go as far as I can. Because he's the hiker, not me. Well, I'm almost embarrassed at how close that was. I would have been embarrassed to have driven my car there just to go hike up. In fact, I just walked over there and we hiked up to the top without any problem at all. And it's just lovely. But here I was going to drive. It just looked like, it's kind of like those visual things that they're closer than you think. Yeah. It's going to be fun to have this all done. What are we? I've got my first Christmas present done, and it's, wow, it's May. Yeah, that's pretty darn good, huh? I think I'm starting to feel a little smug. How about you? It's going to be, yeah, it'll be a lovely little table topper. I'm excited because this afternoon I get to meet up with my, I hate to call her my older daughter-in-law because she's not old, but my oldest son's wife. We get to hang out for a bit, which is just a lovely gift. Just a lovely gift. Yeah. She works this, I remember when I was young being able to do this. In fact, G and I were talking about it yesterday evening because he knew I was going to be meeting her today, and he wanted to know what time. And I said, well, she works until, she works this shift, and then she's going to go home and go to sleep, and then when she wakes up, we're going to meet up. And I said, do you remember all the crazy shifts we worked? You know, G was a Monday through Friday daytime. He was in the office. He was a cartographer. But I was always shift work. And so there was times in my life where I worked a regular night shift. I always worked opposite of my family is the thing for a lot of years, most of my career, in fact. So and then when I moved to Bend, the night shift was 5 nights on, 2 nights off. Well, you really only got one day off, one full day off where you were kind of human, you know. And so I worked at changing that to where you worked 3 12-hour shifts and then you were off. But you know, all that shift work, you know, it creates havoc with your your body, your mind, your sleep. Yeah, you know how that goes. Well, maybe you don't, but it's crazy. So my daughter-in-law works a 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. shift. She loves it. All I can remember is that when I was working at night, I was in a perpetual state of tiredness. But that's, G used to take our oldest out camping all the time so I could sleep without kid noise in the house. So my next project that I am going to be working on is my license plate project. And you ask, what is that? Well, if you remember, if you're a quilter, what's really surprising to me is that there are some people who are not quilters that watch my channel, and I really appreciate that. But up until about like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, it started where different shops would print out what looked like a traditional license plate with their shop name on it from the state they were in, and you could collect them. And so I collected a bunch of them, and way too many. And so what I did was that I divided them up and I passed out the license plate to my fabric stockers, which is my quilt group. And each of us would make some kind of project using the license plates. So I'm going to be starting that project because we're going to have a retreat in September, and I want to have it done to show off then. So I know what I'm going to do. I know the layout I'm going to do, but I'm going to get started because mine will have quite a bit of hand stitching to it. Naturally, everything I do is hand stitching. And so that's my next project. Well, yesterday, I couldn't believe it. G and I were sitting out in the backyard for happy hour. It was lovely, and 2 ducks were floating around in the pond, Mr. and Mrs., and another male duck flew in and was beating the crap out of that male duck that was just minding his own business. I could not believe it. I mean, I thought he was going to drown him. He, he was on the back of that duck just biting his neck, and there was screaming and squealing, and holy moly. I got up and I went over to the pond. I said, "What the heck?" And then that mean duck flew over to the other side of the yard and then watched me. "You want a piece of me?" That's what I says. "You want a piece of me?" So he got finally frustrated that he couldn't get over to the pond, and he flew off. But I had never seen anything like that. We will not be having any of that. What did I do? So, I started my binding. Got my binding clips. This is going to be so much fun to have done. There's some satisfaction in that. That means that I need to get something else. I'm thinking that I want to get that whale quilted next. So I'm going to have to think about that, what I want to do for that. And then layer that up and quilt it. And I think I'm just going to do a meandering water, but I don't know if I want to, I don't think I want to use the shiny thread. There's something about that shiny thread that it just doesn't go through the needle and quilt very well. It's more of a challenge than it's worth. But I think that will be my next one. And I know who that's going to, so yeah, I'll get that done. And so many things to think about. But the weather is, I planted an apple tree, and it said something about pollination. So I texted Robin and I said, "It says I have to buy another tree." And she said, "No, you don't. The bees it'll get pollinated, and don't worry about it." Well, sure enough, that thing's covered in bees. They love it. And someday I'll have some apples in my backyard too. Kind of excited about that. Yeah, so many fun things to think about. We have some camping trips on the books, which I'm looking forward to. I need to start getting more organized and do another interview with a designer, but I haven't been working very hard on that. But I'll have to do that soon. And then let's see, it's May. Yeah, my dad's birthday is this week, and when he passed away, it was 2 days after his birthday. Yeah, we lost Greg's uncle this last week, which was sad, but we were so grateful that we stopped and saw them when we were traveling down to Tucson. That generation, we're now moved up in the food chain. We're getting to be the older generation here. But I love talking to him because he really appreciated his two older sisters quilted. There were 9 kids in the family, and the 2 oldest girls were quilters, and he appreciated quilting. Yeah, he appreciated it a lot. So he, I think it was last year, yeah. When we met up in Arizona, he brought me 2 quilts from his sister, and one from each sister, and I love having those. I love having that family history. Well, it's a lovely day. I'm going to head out. It was nice talking to you. I just wanted to show you a couple things I received in the mail. It's just so amazing, this sweet little card here. And this is from Diane. It is Hexie fabric. Yeah, look at so many fun things. Look at these little chunks. Scotty dogs. It's like a plethora of, there's kitty cats, there's chickens, there's oranges. Oh, this is fascinating. These are like silhouettes of ladies. I like this one, soda. So that was really fun. Sharing the stash. So cute. So I'm going to be having fun making hexies. And then from Karen up in Canada, she sent me this mask making kit. Not only did she send me the fabric, you know, the pre-printed panel. I don't know if you remember those pre-printed panels, but ooh, that octopus, I'm going to have to do that for my older son. So these pre-printed panels, which make these, oh, and they're two different kinds of masks. So they're the straight ones that fold up, and then there's these more contoured ones. I love those. I love those. But she sent the little ear loop things and the nose pieces. Those are going to be a godsend because my younger daughter-in-law and I wear glasses all the time, and we're always saying that our glasses fog up, but this will help prevent that. So thank you so much, Karen. It was very kind of you, and I'm looking forward to making these. You'll see me in one. Well, take care. Thank you for stopping by. I hope I see you again. Please subscribe. Hit that bell so you know when I decide to do another one. And hopefully we get a lot of gardening and stitching done. You take care. Stay well. I forgot to tell you who the winner was. So the winner of the Tater Patch gift card is Mary Feely. So Mary, send me an email, and I will put my email address down in the description box, and leave your mailing address, and I'll get it to you. And you'll be able to have so much fun at the Tater Patch. Thank you again.